Enemy Mine is a super easy premise to sum up. What if two soldiers from different sides of a galactic war were stranded on an alien planet together? It's a great premise, but it's just an okay movie. Let's get into it. It has a very ambitious opening, full of dark sci-fi spectacle, and what I like about this movie is that it doesn't waste any time getting to the premise. They don't build up a backstory or establish relationships with anyone back on the main ship or anything like that. Within 5 minutes, you know that our protagonist, David, hates the aliens, the Drax, and that he now finds himself marooned on a planet with one. The first act of this movie is really solid. The sets look great, the concept's so easy to grasp. The puppetry stuff isn't stellar, but we're still in the mid-80s here, so you can excuse that and just enjoy the movie for what it is. What serves as a bit of a warning flag, however, is how the movie's plot and pacing is based around Davidge's narration. And the narration is very sparse, so there's a good 20-minute period of the movie that is just two people who don't speak the same language yelling at each other. I'm not saying that it fails to convey the story, because it doesn't, but if the main character is going to be the narrator, then why not find a way to use that device more? As soon as he lands on the planet, he sets off on a revenge quest to kill the alien. He doesn't try and contact his home ship. He doesn't make any plans to get off this world. You could have just as easily, instead of having the voiceover narration, had the narration be him recording messages to the home ship that he hopes will get picked up so someone will come and save him. He seems very resigned to his fate in this movie, and that's odd. But I digress. You can probably see where the story's going to go. The longer they spend together, the friendlier Davidge and the alien Jerry become.
Shit.
Credit to Quaid and Luis Gossett Jr. here for their performances, because they do manage to establish a sense of them becoming close. They even learn each other's languages. Jerry saves Davidge from a pit of Sarlacc-esque creature, and to explain why he did it, Jerry says, well,
maybe I need to look at another face, even as ugly as yours.
As this story of survival slowly progresses, Davidge becomes increasingly interested in learning more about Jerry's race, and Jerry, he gives him this secret text thing to study, so the relationship continues to transform. First they were rival soldiers, then begrudging partners for the sake of their own survival. Now they've become student and teacher. Whether the Jesus-y look Dennis Quaid adopted during this was intentional, who can say? Of course, with the movie built around two people stuck on a planet, there isn't much intense action, so they go all out on these comet scenes, which frankly, they could have done without. For the amount of money it must have cost them to film this scene, it's not really that impressive or intense. But back to the movie. Davidge sets off on his own because he's sure he heard ships in the night, but as he travels the planet, the only thing he finds is traces of a slave trader ship, which, given his new best mate is a Drakian and the slave ship captures Drakians, he doesn't feel great about. So he goes back home to Jerry, who, as it turns out, was pregnant and didn't say anything.
I await a new life.
A new life? From where? Oh my God.
This is actually really well built into the story. Jerry mentioned much earlier on how his species are asexual. There's a point where Davidge kicks off at him for getting fat while he's starving, and it all builds to this moment where Jerry, the former enemy, the former teacher, now asks Dave to become their child's guardian.
Alright, I swear it. I swear it.
The first time I saw this movie, I was like, well, where do we go from here? The story is now just going to be Davidge raising the kid alone on this planet, right? I believe this is where the original novella the movie is based on, and the movie itself, begin to differ, because apparently the studio said there needs to be a B story about a mine, otherwise people are going to ask why the hell is this movie called Enemy Mine? Which, in I don't want to side with a Fox company producer at all, but that's a good point. I know I'm the kind of person who would have kicked up a fuss about that. The better part of the second act here is the alien child growing up and the heartfelt relationship he has with Davidge. The Drax child, Zamis, doesn't get that he is different, and Quaid has to keep on explaining it to him. And in case you somehow missed the moral of the film here, it's really quite heartbreaking to watch.
Not the same.
Well, of course they're not the same. You're a Drac. I'm a human. Look. Now, you have 3 fingers. 1, 2, 3. Now, I have 5 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sammy's get 4, 5?
No. You're a Drac. And I'm a human.
Human?
Yeah, human is me. Drac is you. Now, I'm a...
Zemus is just a little regular kid. He doesn't know anything about the war. He's never seen any other aliens or any other humans for that matter. He doesn't know that humans are a bunch of dicks, but unfortunately he finds out how dickish they can be when a slave ship carrying Drax slaves appears on the planet to mine it. So Zamis is told to stay away from the humans, but he doesn't because he's like, well, we're all the same, aren't we? I just want to be their friends, and if I go talk to them, I'm sure they will be, nope, bang, he's enslaved, Davidge is shot. Things look pretty bleak.
Davis, no!
Davidge's corpse is sent back to his home ship somehow. I don't know if they didn't explain it or I just missed how they did. I'm not going to complain either way because it gives us this nice moment here, reflecting on how highly regarded us future humans hold this whole precious life and religious value deal we've got going.
Dust to dust. Ensure uncertainty.
Jesus Christ! Didn't they just fix that thing? Oh, shit. Who's listening anyway?
Next.
Davidge gets all fixed up, and before anyone can ask him how he survived, how he can speak alien, how they can use that to their advantage to win the war, he just pieces out. He's gone. He goes right back to the planet where he was stranded on for all those years to save Zamis.
Shut down those engines, mister. Better get the hell out of there.
Going through. I swear it. Now you open those doors. I'm going through! Open them up! Open the doors! Ah!
Which, obviously, he does. There's a cool bit of gore. There's a terrible fight scene, the impact of which is dampened by the amount of plumbers crack on show during said fight scene. And then the movie sort of ends. He saves the kid, takes it to its ancestral home, and we're done. There's no mention of what this means for the future of the Galactic War. We just fade out and the story is over. And this is all conveyed to us by a new narrator. A narrator which IMDb says was an uncredited Tom Baker, but it definitely wasn't in the version I saw. You know, at the time this movie came out, it did not do well. They released it on Christmas, which was a mistake, and the marketing people didn't know whether to spin it as a sci-fi action movie or a somber space drama. It did do well in Russia, however, mainly because it was the first Western sci-fi movie that had ever got released in the cinema over there, but it did also do well on VHS and has a bit of a cult classic following. So there was an audience there, not a strong audience, but there are definitely elements in there to forge a much stronger audience than it had. So should they remake this? Yeah, they should totally remake this. It seems stupid not to, especially for the market of today, because this movie is woke as fuck. It's about a hard-nosed all-American white dude who befriends an asexual alien and raises their child as his own. And this film could have easily come across as preachy or leaned very hard into being a film that dealt with issues, but it doesn't. It's, at its core, a sci-fi flick. If they remade this and just put more funds and effort into the stranded on a planet part, added some hostile alien creatures there to be a threat, I think you'd really have something good here. And keep the same message by all means. Do everything the same. Just pump some CGI into that shit and you're away, you're golden. See, this is the exact sort of thing that someone like Will Smith could have used as a career revival vehicle. It's got that action element that would bring audiences in, but a subject matter that shows how he's matured and wants to tackle films with deeper themes, but do so in a way where he still gets to fly spaceships and shit. There are so many more interesting things we can do with this movie now with technology and the premise. God knows we're a divided people, and these stories are needed to show us how ridiculous that divide is. So for the sake of humanity, Alien Mine gets a thumbs up for me, and a big tick in the yes, it should be remade. Oh, that got preachy, didn't it? Anyway, that's another one of these videos. Subscribe to the channel for more. I don't know when they're going to be, but they will be along. And there's lots of other stuff on there to check out as well. Essay videos, sketches, short films, all that. Like, comment, subscribe. You know how this works. Even this isn't your first time on YouTube.